Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. My name's Marissa, and today I'm going to be talking about the books that I've read in the first half of March. So the most recent book that I ended up reading in March is One to Watch by Stayman-London. Now, this book has been much beloved on BookTube. I've heard quite a few things about it. It is definitely a contemporary romance, and it is based on the Bachelor/Bachelorette franchise. So essentially what this book is about is we are following a plus-size fashion blogger, B, and she ends up getting drunk one night and pining over her ex and basically going on this rant on Twitter all about the I forget what the show is actually called. Okay, The Bachelor show, you know, in quotations, because that's really what it is. And, you know, complaining about how there's no body diversity on there, and complaining about the women and how they act and how they look. And, you know, the show's producers end up taking her very seriously. Well, they end up firing the head guy, and then the woman who takes over calls B and says, "Hey, we want you to be the new Bachelorette on this show." And she's like, okay, I guess, because she's reeling from this heartbreak that she had. And so she goes on the show, and a lot of this book, you would expect it to be really following the filming and like the drama that happens, which it does a little bit, but for the most part, it's really about her insecurities. It's about how these insecurities are being played out and played upon and used for dramatic purposes on this television show, and how upset B gets. And honestly, I connected so much with the character from this book because, you know, I understand, you know, the situations she was in. I knew immediately before she even said it, like, how upsetting it was, and I really felt for her because I've been there. I mean, not on a television show, obviously, but you know what I mean? I've been there with those insecurities, and I've felt that, and I deeply, deeply connected with her character on that level. The romance in here, was it believable? Nah, not really. I mean, honestly, the guy that she ended up with was probably the best one for her. There's a lot of drama, a lot of twists and turns, but honestly, if you're reading this for the romance, you're probably going to be pretty disappointed. It's more of her struggles, and I really ended up liking that for that purpose. So the next book that I ended up reading was Roommade by Sariah Wilson, and I ended up reading this on ebook. This was one of those free books that I got from, you know, being an Amazon First Reads or whatever member. And this book was supposed to be a romance. This girl was from a wealthy family, and she ended up deciding to become a teacher, and her family, of course, did not like that. They wanted her to be a lawyer or the CEO of their company or something or other like that. So anyway, they ended up cutting her off, and she ends up going to live on her own. Well, she ends up finding herself basically couch surfing on a friend's couch, and she needs to move out because she's been there for 3 months. She's sleeping on a couch. She needs somewhere to go. Well, her aunt ends up finding her a place to live with this really hot guy, which oh my god, the whole time through this book, it's just, he's super hot and he's just the hottest guy in the world and blah blah. Anyway, it got kind of old. I did like the story other than the romance. The romance, again, not believable in this book either, so I really didn't care for that. Her story was pretty good, but I didn't really connect with her character because A, I wasn't born in a wealthy family, so I don't know that struggle, and B, she still kind of seems like she gets everything handed to her on a platter, so you know, not really my favorite. It was a quick, short read, and it was good for some light fluff in between other books. The next book that I ended up picking up was TheDarkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken, and I did really end up enjoying this book. It is a YA dystopian, and it is about these kids who either die or develop powers at the age of 10, and they end up getting sent to these like concentration camps, and then basically the US falls apart. The economy tanks, everything goes to shit, and this girl is left in one of these camps for 6 years. Eventually she finally escapes with the help of some others, and then she meets this group of friends. And I thought that this book was really interesting. I thought it was cute. I'm definitely interested to see what happens next because of how this book ended. Was definitely on a cliffhanger. So yeah, I did end up purchasing the rest of these books. I still have not received them yet, which is why you won't see them in this wrap up, unfortunately, but still waiting for them. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this book. I know it is an older one, but I enjoyed it. So the next book that I ended up picking up was a reread for me, and this I listened to on audiobook, which was The Lies of Lamora by Scott Lynch. Overall, I think I've talked about these books enough for everybody to know what they are, but it is a group of friends. It is a heist story. It is about, you know, them basically being the bad guys, stealing from the rich and, you know, giving to themselves, the poor. So anyway, that is The Lies of Lamora, all rolled up into a couple of neat sentences. And then finally, the last book that I ended up reading was The Fifth Petal by Brunonia Barry, and this book was set in Salem, Massachusetts in the modern day, I guess you could say, but it is also following, it's not really following. So this woman goes back to Salem because she finds out that her godmother, aunt, friend of the family, whatever, is still alive, even though she was told by the nuns that raised her that this woman was dead many years ago. So her mother and 4 other women were killed in a brutal murder many years ago, and she's trying to unravel the mystery of what happened to them. Obviously, they were quasi-witches, and she thinks that it was some magical being that ended up killing them. Well, she's on the hunt for the truth. The woman that she goes to see has basically kind of lost her mind after the murders that happened because she was there. She just, you know, can't explain anything that happened. She keeps saying that a banshee killed them. So this book I found interesting. It was intriguing. I really liked learning more about Salem, but it was definitely more about the mainstream, the current times than it was about the past. But you know, it was definitely an interesting book. Would I continue with any other books set in this world or this series? No, probably not. I just didn't find it that interesting. I think if I was going to pick something else up, it would definitely have to be a historical fiction that, you know, was in Salem. So on the other hand, I did end up DNFing one book this month from my hashtag Read It or Lose It challenge, and that was Atonement by Ian McEwan. And from the moment I picked this book up, I started reading it, and the language is so antiquated. It's like reading a Jane Austen novel, and immediately I'm like, nope, no, I can't do this. I flipped through the book and I looked in a couple more spots, and yeah, that's the language throughout. I can't do it. It was a huge struggle for me to read the Jane Austen books. The stories were good, but the language is just, I can't do it. So anyway, that is why I ended up DNFing this one. I just couldn't take the language in it. So overall, so far, I have read 5 books in the month of March, which is not great compared to what I normally do, but I believe I am still ahead of my goal for the entire year. So fingers crossed that I ended up making my 150 book goal by the end of 2021. So anyway, I hope you guys had a wonderful time with me here. Let me know down in the comments what you guys are reading or what you have read so far in March, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching my video. I upload every Wednesday and Saturday, and I would really love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe my videos. Have a great day.